Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihar Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Radha Girivardhari Jai Radha Madhava Girivardhari Jana Vallabha Girivardhari
भक्त सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज
Jai
की जय,
Jai
दास ठाकुर की जय।
Jai
ओ श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय।
Jai
राधा कृष्ण गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय।
Jai
वृंदावन धाम की जय, मायापुर धाम की जय, पुरुषोत्तम श्री जगन्नाथ धाम की जय, गंगा माई की जय, यमुना माई की जय, भक्ति देवी की जय, श्रीमती तुलसी महारानी की जय, समवेद गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदी हरि हरि। All glories to assembled devotees, all glories,
Hare Krishna.
all glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna, all
Hare
glories to
Krishna.
assembled devotees, all glories to
Hare
Shri
Krishna.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai. Hare Krishna. So I welcome you all to our Sunday feast lecture today. Sunday lecture, in fact, from last 1 year, it's Sunday lecture. So we have a very special guest today, and I'm sure many of you might know him. Prabhu was here 3 4 years back, and we had 4 hours kirtan at Anand Vardhan Prabhu's house, and Prabhu helped us, leading the kirtan. So we are very, fortunate to have association tonight uh, with His Grace Shankaranand Prabhu. Prabhu is originally from Mumbai. He came to Krishna consciousness in 1992. Mumbai ISKCON Chowpatty, and he is disciple of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. Prabhu came here, and he was basically very active member and in a leadership role at ISKCON New Brindavan for many years, and then after that, he moved to Sacramento in California, and he's just staying there. He's managing the temple there. Prabhu is very, very, active member of our organization. One thing that I would like to also let you know, that he is multi-talented, devotee. He knows so many things. And one of the things that we have taken his help on many time is Vastu. So, so Sankaranand Prabhu is basically very good at Vastu. And if there is, any questions around, your home's Vastu, I see Kripa Maya Prabhu here also. So both of us, definitely have approached him and gotten his help on Vastus of our house. So Prabhu is, very, very skilled and, qualified devotee. Today he is going to talk on the first verse of Chaitanya Sikshastakam. That's right, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhu, that's right.
Thank you. So we are going to hear today on Chaitanya Sikshastakam. I think very nice topic, Prabhu, because we are preparing our mood for Advaita Achara appearance day, and then, Nityanand, Prabhu's appearance day. So very, very appropriate topic for us to start preparing our mind and thinking about, Panch Tattva. So thank you so much, Prabhuji, for coming and giving us, your association. Just for FYI, we are watching in a family. So you will see that, everybody, whoever is logged into the, program tonight, they all are watching with their family. So we have at least 3 times, 2 to 3 times more participants than what you will see on the screen. So we have so many devotees, taking your association tonight. And with that, I would like to basically, get back to you to begin the lecture. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, Dandot Pranams.
Thank you very much, Ramachandra Prabhu. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manovishram Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamai Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamishcha Shri Rupam Sagrajata Sahagana Raghunathanpitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhamitanscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, first of all, I would like to thank Ramacharya Prabhu and all the devotees from St. Louis for giving me an opportunity to serve all of you. By the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and the servants of Srila Prabhupada who has been tirelessly serving this mission of Srila Prabhupada, we have opportunity, even in such unusual times like the current time where people being confined at home, they go crazy. They, actually, some time ago, when this coronavirus actually started last year during, I think, March, April time period, there was upsurge. There was so much upsurge in divorce cases. In fact, the lawyers from the New York City, they had made a statement that their business had increased like anything because so many people were filing for divorce because people were staying at home, especially man and woman, they're staying at home and they can't tolerate each other. But in spite of all such inconveniences, difficulties, this Sankirtan movement is such a great benediction. So, especially when we chant the holy names of the Lord, if we meditate on this Shikshashtakam prayer, that is preparing the mood for our chanting every day. I remember in early days of our Krishna consciousness, we had a habit when I was living in Chapari temple in Mumbai. We used to chant every day before we start japa in the morning. After the whole songs, the Mangala Arati program is over, Tulsi Puja is over, we used to chant this Shikshashtakam prayer. Just before starting the chanting, we used to chant this Shikshashtakam prayer to set the proper mood for chanting the holy name of the Lord. So this practice, I just continue till this day. We try to chant every day before starting the holy name, chanting the holy name of the Lord. So I thought this will be a very appropriate and useful thing from practical perspective of our Krishna consciousness. So we will just, it's not possible to discuss even the first words entirely in the short period of time that we have, but I'll try to do the justice as much as I can. So today we are going to discuss on the first verse of Chaitanya Shikshashtakam. Cheto darpanamarchanam bhavamahadavagni nirvapanam shreyavakairava chandrika vitaranam vidyavadhu jeevanam anandam buddhivardhanam pratipadam purnamrita swadanam sarvatma snapanam param vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. So this verse is the first verse of Chaitanya Shikshashtakam. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, though he is none other than the Krishna himself, appearing in the mood of Srimati Radharani, he came in this age of Kali to establish the Yuga Dharma. And he inspired his followers like Rupa and Sanatana Goswami, to Jiva Goswami, to write volumes and volumes of literatures establishing the philosophical principles of bhakti or devotional service to the Lord as the supreme principle given in the Vedas. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally never wrote any book. In fact, in the biography of Lord Chaitanya, there is a reference that Lord Chaitanya did write one book on Sanskrit grammar. And he had written and almost published that book. He had the manuscripts ready. He was ready to publish that book. But one time he was traveling in Ganga with the manuscripts, and one of his devotees, I'm forgetting the name, if I believe it was Vachaspati. I'm forgetting the entire name of the devotee. So this Vidya Vachaspati. So Vidya Vachaspati was one of the very intimate associate of Lord Chaitanya. So they were traveling. Vidya Vachaspati had also written a book. He was actually preparing a book to write on Sanskrit grammar. So Lord Chaitanya said, I have also written a book. So he showed his manuscript to Vidya Vachaspati. And Vidya Vachaspati, when he saw the book, he had tears in his eyes. Lord Chaitanya said, what happened, my dear friend? Why you are crying? He said, I had also written a book. I was also, preparing to publish a book, but your book is so excellent. I'm sure there'll be no value to my book. This book is so amazing. So I think my writing of my book is useless. So Lord Chaitanya, as soon as he heard this, he took the manuscripts and threw them in Ganges, because he did not want his devotees' book or compilation to go in vain. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu never personally left any teachings except these 8 verses. These are the verses directly given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as his teachings. And in fact, our whole Gaudiya Siddhanta, Gaudiya Vaishnavism Siddhanta is condensed in these 8 verses. Everything that is required to understand the principles of Krishna consciousness in order to go back home, back to Godhead, right from beginning our sadhana bhakti up to attaining the prema bhakti, everything is there in these 8 verses of Shikshashtakam. So it's actually a very condensed form of Krishna conscious philosophy. And a person who understands these 8 verses, and when recites these 8 verses, his heart will be filled with so much joy and happiness. So let's try to understand the first verse. The first verse begins with Cheto Darpana Marjanam. Cheta means mind, and Darpana means mirror. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is comparing our mind with a mirror. Chitta is like a mirror. Now see, whenever we apply tilak every day, at least all the Vaishnavas, practicing devotees, every day they apply tilak. At least they're supposed to apply tilak. It is actually essential that whether we are at home or not, or we are going out or temple, we should be applying tilak every day. This Urdhva tilak is completion of our bathing. Bathing is never complete without putting tilak on the body. In fact, Chaitanya Bhagavat explained, Lord Chaitanya, whenever he would see, because he used to teach in the school of Gangadas Pandit. So Lord Chaitanya, if he ever saw a student came without tilak on his forehead, he would chastise the student. He said, my dear sir, my dear boy, you are a Brahmana. What kind of Brahmana are you? You have taken the bath, but you have not put the Urdhva tilak. So your bathing is incomplete. Go home, again take bath and apply tilak and then come. Because without tilak, you are muchi, you are again polluted or contaminated. But this body is practically more or less dead corpse without decorating our forehead with tilak. So at least applying tilak, we do look in the mirror. So mirror helps us to see if we are applying tilak properly or not. Whether the line is straight and putting tulsi properly or not. So darpana is very important because you get the information from darpana, what exactly you look like. So chitta is that darpana, mind is that darpana which reflects our true identity. But when the when the darpana, when the mirror is covered with thick layer of dust, and you go in front of the mirror, you cannot see exactly your reflection. All you can see is just dirt. If the dirt is not very thick, you may see a hazy picture of yours. But if the thick layer of dust is there, then you cannot even see anything but dust. So this mind, when it is covered with the dust, what does it exactly means? It means when the mind of a living entity is polluted with the idea of identifying one's self with this body or senses or mind or intelligence. So when we identify ourselves with body, mind, or intelligence, that is like dirt that completely blocks the identification of the living entity. And the living entity starts identifying itself with everything in relationship to the body. So all the conceptions, I am man, I am woman, I am American, or I am European, I am Christian, Muslim, or Hindu, I am doctor or I'm engineer, I am a child, I'm an adult. All these are nothing but uh, designations of the polluted mind. The mind which is covered with the dust. Just like, if you ask the question, who are you? Or if you suppose ask the question, who am I? Different people you go and ask. You ask your mother, who am I? She says, you are my son. If you ask the same question to government of the country, who am I? They say, you are our citizen. You are a citizen of our country. Or if you go to your boss in the office, who am I? You are my servant. If you go to philosopher or scientist, Darwin's scientist, they say, you are monkey. You came from the monkeys. So all the answers which will come, they will be answers of not a self-realized soul. There will be relative answers related to the body, the bodily designation. So this is nothing but the pollution of the mind. When the mind is polluted, the living entity forgets its identity. Not that we don't use these conventional relationships. When the mother says, you are my son, no, I'm not your son. I'm spirit soul. No. We do use conventional identities, but we always remember that all these designations are temporary and conventional. We use them, but that is not my real identity. It's just temporary identity which has been imposed upon my mind. I have to work, I have to perform my duties based on what is my true identity. And what is the true identity? True identity is Aham Brahmasmi. I'm not this body, but I'm spirit soul. I'm Atma. And that Atma, as Krishna says, Maya Amsha Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. We are Krishna's Amsha. We are Krishna's part and parcel. We are eternal, and we are eternally Krishna's part and parcel. Jevero Swarupa Hoy, Nitya Krishna Das. The Swarupa of living entity is, he is eternally part and parcel of Krishna. Nitya Krishna Das. We are servants of Krishna eternally. So, when we are chanting the holy names of the Lord, know for sure that the mirror of the mind is getting clearer and clearer. We are in the process of clearing the mind. Srila Bhaktistan Thakur, he gives a beautiful example, because sometimes devotees have this question, I've been chanting for so many years. but I don't feel that I'm spirit soul. I don't feel that any improvement is happening in me. How do I understand that I'm actually improving? So Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur gives a beautiful example. He says, holy name of the Lord is a wonderful remedy. It's like a remedy. Even if we are chanting the holy name of the Lord and most of the time we are inattentive, we don't even hear the holy name attentively. Though it's not encouraged, we should be attentively. One of the offenses to the holy name is to be inattentive while chanting. And that greatly hinders the progress of a sadhaka in realizing the absolute truth. But even if we are chanting the names of Krishna every day and we are not being very attentive, we still need to just continue. And Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur gives a beautiful example in this regard. He says in Ayurveda, to cure a patient of diarrhea means loose motion, a person who has loose motions, to treat the person with diarrhea, the remedy is the patient is fed ghee. So when doctor, Ayurvedic physician, he has a patient which is having diarrhea, he will give him a huge cup, a big cup of ghee to drink, melted ghee to drink. So the person drinks the ghee, but because he has loose motions, and generally ghee is very heavy, can't even stay, the thing is digesting. So all the ghee comes out through evacuation. But ghee has one quality. Say, for example, you take the ghee in cup and then you make the cup upside down. The ghee will fall, but some ghee will stick to the pot. And ghee is very nutritious. So same thing, when the ghee goes inside the intestine, it comes out because of loose motions. But little bit ghee sticks to the walls of intestine. And that gets digested. So the whole cup is taken, entire ghee comes out, but little, very insignificant portion sticks to the intestine. And when that ghee is digested, because ghee is medicinal, it's also very nutrition, and it builds the immunity of the body. So as soon as the ghee is digested, it builds the strength to fight with the disease, and the diarrhea is cured. So similarly, Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur says, the holy name has a similar quality like ghee. So I'm chanting 16 rounds every day. Most of the rounds, they just go. I'm not even hearing attentively. But even if one name of Krishna, I chanted Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Just one word, Krishna, went inside the ears. It will act like ghee. So every time, even if we once hear the name of Krishna attentively through our ears, Hare Krishna, just once hearing, it goes inside, it does the cleaning, marjanam, cheto darpana marjanam. The mirror becomes more and more clearer. So don't feel discouraged. Even if we are not able to chant attentively, just continue chanting attentively. Trying to continue chanting attentively. Just continue. One time, devotee asked Prabhupada, when I'm chanting, my mind goes here and there. Prabhupada said, I told you to simply chant with your mouth and hear with your ears. Where is the question of mind? So, and this is amazing. Even if our mind is wandering here and there, as long as we are chanting and hearing just Krishna, I'm able to hear the name. It works. The medicine is working. The mind is getting clearer. So we don't have to really worry too much, even if sometimes we are not able to We don't have to feel discouraged because I'm not able to chant attentively. Just continue. Continue chanting. One name of Krishna going inside is making us healthier. So, Cheto Darpana Marjana. And when the mind becomes more and more clearer, when we are situated in our identity as servant of Krishna, as spirit soul, eternal servant of Krishna, then Bhava Maha Davagini Nirvapanam. Bhava means repetition of birth and death. Bhava in Sanskrit means the repetition of birth and death. So repeated birth and repeated death is called Bhava. So Bhava Mahadavagini. So this Bhava, the repetition of birth and death is compared with Davagini, but not ordinary Davagini, it's Mahadavagini. The huge forest fire. Now, of course, most of you may not have experienced what is forest fire, but here in California, every year we have forest fires. Especially as soon as the month of September, August, September arrives, there's always fear of forest fires. And when forest fire comes, even though we may be proud that, oh, we are so advanced, we have so much technology nowadays, we are so scientifically advanced. When the forest fire comes, the government simply tells you, get out. Just get out of here. Nothing we can do about it. So all our advancement in technology, science, everything is null and void when it comes to Davana, when it comes to forest fire. So this material existence is Mahadavanala. No remedial measure in this world can actually help us to overcome this Davagini. It is futile. In fact, every day in the morning, samsara, in the Guru Ashtakam prayers we sing, Samsara Davanala Vidhaloka. Entire world is being scorched by the samsara davana, this samsara, which is nothing but repetition of birth and death. Everyone in this, every living entity is being scorched by this davana. So, what can actually extinguish this? Tranaya karunya ghana ghanatva. Only the cloud, ghana. One of the name of Krishna is Ghanasham, is blackish like a ghana, like a rain cloud. So when the rain comes from the sky through the clouds, that rain can actually extinguish the forest fire. Nirvapanam. Bhava Mahadavagini Nirvapanam. So this forest fire, it is not possible to be extinguished by any human endeavor. Especially when the forest fire, I have experience in California here, whenever the forest fire happens, they try to, what they say is in terminology here is contain the fire. So when the fire is spreading very fast and approaching a nearby city, they try to contain it. Contain it means they try to stop the fire from coming to the city. And many times that also fails. They tell the whole city to evacuate. Especially in the last few years I've been living here. Every year, one city gets completely burned. They tell people to just get out. So, all you can try to do is just get out. The forest fire is impossible to be dealt with by human endeavors. So this holy name of the Lord is like showers coming from the sky. No matter how huge the forest fire is, when the rain comes, all the forest fire is completely extinguished. Completely extinguished. In fact, Bhagavatam gives a beautiful verse in the 11th canto of Bhagavatam. There's a beautiful verse. Related to same forest fire, says, Janeshu dahyamashu kamaloka gavagimina natapyase agni mukto gangambhastya iva dvipa. Gangambha sthita iva dvipa. Dvipa is elephant. So, elephant is a huge animal, very powerful animal. And when the forest fire happens, the one who gets most scorched is the elephant. So the person more powerful in this world, when he faces the death, he feels tremendous pain. Because a powerful person means he has a lot possessed, lot of wealth, lot of followers, lot of name, fame. The bigger and powerful the person, the more he gets scorched by the forest fire. So not that only elephant, but every animal gets scorched by the forest fire. But if in the forest fire, especially in Himalayas, many times it happened that forest fire takes place. So when the forest fire takes place, if an elephant can somehow that within that scorching forest fire find a stream of river Ganga, Ganga Amba means a stream of river Ganga flowing through that forest fire. If an elephant can somehow that find a stream of Ganga river, the Ganga river is very cold, especially in Himalayas, it's very cold. So though the whole forest is scorching, the elephant gets inside this Ganga river, the stream of Ganga river. So the whole forest is burning. Everyone is being scorched, but the elephant is enjoying. The elephant is completely cool, relishing. The more heat outside, the more he's able to relish the cooling of the Ganga water. It's just like, in the summertime, sometimes children go in the backyard and generally they don't want to take shower with cold water, but in the backyard, they turn on the cold water and they relish because summertime it's so hot. So similarly, when the forest fire is there around and you find the cool, soothing stream of Ganga water, that is a great relief. In fact, Srila Bhaktisaraj Thakur comments on that words of Srimad Bhagavatam and says, everyone in this world is being scorched by samsara is mainly characterized by lust. So lusty desires, the desire for enjoying the sex pleasure or the different senses being infatuated with the desire for enjoyment. So this lust is something that's scorched like the avanala. It's burning every living entity's mind. So the cool and soothing breeze or the stream of Ganga water is the holy name of the Lord. Anyone who takes shelter of the holy name of the Lord. In other words, any sadhaka, any practicing devotee who chants every day this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, even though he is situated in this Bhava Maha Davagni, this Davagni doesn't really bother a devotee. Even a neophyte practicing devotee becomes completely transcendental to the fear of this Bhava Davagni. So this Bhava Maha Davagni is a very painful experience. But for a devotee, it doesn't exist because he takes shelter of the holy name of the Lord. Bhava Maha Davagni Nirvapanam. Of course, I think it's early, getting closer to 4:30, but I think we won't be able to go through the entire verse, but I'll try to quickly write. Shreyava Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam. So Shreya is generally, there are two words, Shreya and Priya. So Shreya means the good fortune. In general, the Shreya means good fortune. And Priya means something that we think as good fortune. something that is immediately pleasing me. That is called prayer. But Shreya means the real good fortune, something that's really beneficial for us. So, Shreya or good fortune is compared to a Kairava. What is Kairava? Kairava is a white lotus flower. Generally, lotus flower blooms in the sunlight, but this Kairava blooms in the night when the moonlight is visible. Okay. So this Shreya, this good fortune, is compared to a lotus flower which blooms in the presence of Chandrika or in the presence of moonlight. So this holy name of the Lord acts like Chandrika, showers the Chandrika, the moonlight. Vitarana means to shower or to bestow upon. So, Shreyava Kairava Chandrika Vitarana. The holy name bestows the cool, soothing moonlight to bloom the lotus of good fortune. Of course, there's a lot of details on good fortune. What exactly is a good fortune? But we just skip that. We won't go into the detail. But you know, uh, so this is Shreyava Kairava Chandrika. The holy name actually brings all the good fortune for the living entity. So if you want to be really fortunate, sometimes people approach me, oh, can you look into my chart? Things are not going well. If you simply take shelter of the holy name, if you simply chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra every day, the lotus of good fortune will automatically bloom. All we need to do is just continue chanting the holy name of the Lord. The problem happens when there is not sufficient faith. We don't want to even give a try. We don't want to even continue chanting the holy name. Then all other things become attractive to us. Worshipping this, worshipping doing this puja, doing that puja becomes attractive to our mind only when we do not take shelter of the holy name. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself, is telling Shreyava Kairava Chandrika. You will definitely have the good fortune, the lotus of good fortune bloom if you take shelter of the holy name, if you chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra every day. Shreyava Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam. Vidya Vadhu Jivanam. Vidya means transcendental knowledge. So Vidya is compared to Vadhu. Vadhu means wife. Like we say, Var Vadhu Milap. Right? So Vadhu is wife. So Vidya Vadhu, the transcendental knowledge is like Vadhu, like a wife, and holy name is like the husband, Jivanam. Husband is considered the pranath or life and soul of the wife. Of course, that is the Vedic culture. The wife regarded the husband as very life and soul. Therefore, they couldn't even survive. The husband died, they would just enter into the fire voluntarily because they thought living without the husband was intolerable for them. So, Jivanam, husband, is considered the life and soul of the wife. So, Vidya Vadhu, the transcendental knowledge, is Vadhu, and holy name is the husband, the Jivanam, the very life and soul of that Vidya. So many times, you know, uh, people or even devotees sometimes think, that if I read just Srimad Bhagavatam, that is good enough. I don't have to chant the holy name of the Lord. Srimad Bhagavatam gives you transcendental knowledge, pastimes of the Lord, everything is there. But you will not be able to sustain that. It will not look very good if you do not take shelter of the holy name. Without the husband, Srimad Bhagavatam says, Na shobhate, na shobhate alaksha niranjanam. The transcendental knowledge, if it is devoid of the devotional service to the Lord, it doesn't look very good. Na shobhate, doesn't look very good. And simply taking shelter of the holy name actually makes a devotee fully knowledgeable. Srila Prabhupada, he was not some big PhD scholar, but he could sit and refute all the arguments from big scholars, from philosophers, from scientists. The scientists in those days, in 70s, late 60s and early 70s, they used to claim that we know, and the entire, constitution of this body, the composition of this body we are aware of. It's nothing but the chemicals. But I said, okay, if you think that everything is made from chemicals, can you create one egg? Chicken egg? They say, no, we cannot. I said, then the chicken is better scientist than you, because it's producing the egg. You're calling yourself scientist, and you are not able to even produce one egg. You take all the chemicals and try to produce one egg, which can hatch out and make a chicken. But you cannot do it. So, chicken is a better scientist than you. So Prabhupada could refute even big scientists, nullify their qualifications. One time, actually, I think it's 4:35. Okay, so I think to quickly try to wrap up.
Yes, Prabhuji, please take your time to at least, make the key points so we can wait a little bit, no problem.
Sure, okay, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll try to wrap in the next 10 minutes.
Thank you.
And then next line says, Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam. Ananda Ambudhi Vardhanam. So not only a devotee automatically becomes learned in transcendental knowledge, it's not just dry knowledge. It is knowledge that brings so much joy, bliss. Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam. Ananda Ambudhi. Ambudhi means compared to ocean. So the ocean of Ananda, generally ocean doesn't swell up. Ocean is always contained. As Krishna says, Apurimana Machalam Pratishtam. So many rivers pour water in the ocean, but ocean still doesn't swell up. But this ocean is dynamic ocean. So when we are chanting the holy name of the Lord, attentively when we try to chant the names of the Lord, Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam, our joy, which is like an ocean, keeps multiplying. Prati Padam, every step we take in our Krishna consciousness to progress towards Krishna, that brings tremendous joy, increases the joy day by day. And Purna Amrita Aswadana, one can actually relish the Amrita. Amrita means death, and Amrita means immortality. So, the demigods, they drink nectar. They drink nectar every day, nectar of immortality, but they're not very confident about that nectar. Srila Prabhupada actually mentions in Krishna book, especially in episode of, what is that demon? Aghasura. Aghasura was such a fierce demon that Prabhupada mentions the demigods used to drink nectar every day, but they were still afraid of this demon. They were not confident about their immortality in the presence of Aghasura. He was such a fierce demon. So, the nectar, the so-called nectar, is actually not really nectar. But the real nectar is Krishna's holy name. One who takes shelter of this holy name of the Lord becomes completely fearless. No fear at all. We have so many instances within our Krishna consciousness movement. Even in modern times, even from Srimad Bhagavatam, Prahlad Maharaj was so fearless in presence of Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu, when he would raise his eyebrow like this, the demigods would tremble in fear. Prahlad Maharaj is completely fearless. My dear best of the demons, he's telling his father, my dear best of the demons, Asura Varya, I consider, worshipping the Supreme Lord, devotion service to the Supreme Lord as the best subject matter. So, a devotee actually who has taken shelter of Krishna, in shelter of Krishna's holy name, becomes fearless. I remember one of the devotees from Russia, he was sharing once. This was the time when Russia was a communist country. So some Russian devotee had visited Mumbai temple. So he was sharing his experience that once he was arrested with a few other devotees in Russia, and they put him in the jail along with other devotees. So the jailer, he told them, if all of you just do two things, and we will release all of you. You snap your neck beads, break them with your own hands, and you take this Bhagavad Gita. They were called the Bhagavad Gitas. So they say, you take this Bhagavad Gita and tear it off, and we'll let all of you go. And devotees refused. They refused to do either of those. And they had brought such huge dogs, like almost like lions, very ferocious looking dogs. They said, if you don't obey us, then we will leave these dogs on you. So devotees refused. Still they refused. And the jailer, they actually let the dogs go. They released the dogs and devotees were inside the prison shell. They couldn't run anywhere. So within the prison cell, the dogs were left. The devotees loudly started chanting the names of Lord Narasimhadev. And to their great amazement, the dogs who were actually running towards them not only stopped, but the dogs became so scared that they turned their backs and ran away. And the officer, the jail keepers, they were so amazed. They had never seen something like this. Their dogs were trained dogs. They could rip off anyone when they were, released. But they ran away. So, Purna Amrita Aswadana, devotee experiences immortality by taking shelter of the Holy Name. And last but not the least is Sarvatma Snapanam. Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtan. Sarvatma Snapanam. Sarvatma is twofold meaning. Snapanam means bathing. Actually, Snapanam is used in the sense of bathing. So you see, bathing is something that makes you feel refreshed and fully satisfied. Like in the morning, you get up. When you're getting up in the morning, you feel so dull. And when you take shower, a good shower, especially with the cool water, when you take bath, you feel so refreshed and awake, feel satisfied. So Snapanam is used in the sense of bathing, in the sense of satisfaction. So every living entity becomes satisfied, as Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma. But for the devotee, every living entity is satisfied. A person in Krishna consciousness becomes dear to everyone. So when a person takes shelter of the holy name, chants the holy name of Krishna every day, he satisfies every living entity. And another meaning of Sarvatma is also Krishna. Krishna is soul of all the living entities. He is the super soul of all the souls. So Sarvatma also means Krishna. So Krishna becomes completely satisfied with a devotee who is chanting the holy names of Krishna. Param Vijayate. All glories to the Sankirtan, or chanting of the holy name of God. The chanting of the holy name of the Lord brings complete victory. We have also a lot of examples. Ajamila got victory simply by chanting the name of Narayan. He had committed all kinds of sinful activities. Jagai Madai, the associates of the Lord in Chaitanya Leela, they were the sinners which practically made the associates of Yamaraj associates were crying because they couldn't. Yamaraj's associates, they write down the sins of all the living entities. They maintain the books, log books for every. So the associates of Yamaraj, servants of Yamaraj, who were assigned to write the sins of Jagai Madai, they were crying. They were telling Yamaraj, we are not able to keep up writing. They were working overtime. They were actually burned out. This is what Chaitanya Bhagavad explains. And Nanda Thakur explained that they were actually burned out. They were crying in agony. That's how great sinners were Jagai and Madai. But by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, when they became devotees, they started chanting the holy name of the Lord. All the mountains of the records. In fact, Chitragupta told Yamaraj that we have the mountain of the books which have the description about the sins of Jagai and Madai. The whole mountain Lord Chaitanya has reduced it to the sesame seed. Now we have to throw away all these, we have to discard all these books because we cannot do anything with these records. They have become all useless because Jagai Madai are beyond our jurisdiction of punishment. So this is the glory of this Sankirtan. It delivers even people like Ajamil and Jagai and Madai. So with this, I think I'll stop here. I'm sorry I couldn't go into the much detail, but this Shiksha of the very first verse, it is such a nectar. It is such a nectar to simply meditate on. So, if possible, try to adopt this practice of chanting the Shikshashtakam prayers in a meditative mood before we start chanting the Holy Name of God every day. It helps a lot to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra with a proper mood, with a proper, what do you call it, mood to satisfy the Supreme Lord. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. If anyone has any questions or comments, or we can move on to the next program.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Very nice lecture. Yeah, we'll have for sure a few questions. So we'll spend some time having some QA. So we'll let devotees, dear devotees, I'm sure all of you are very familiar with Prabhuji, Shankaranand Prabhu. So do not hesitate. If you like, just turn your camera on, talk face to face, ask your questions, and let's have some nice discussions. So thank you. Who is going to be the initiator, first one to start? Hari Bol Kripamaya Prabhu, are you there?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Achu. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Who is this Prabhu?
Hare Krishna
Prabhu. Turn your camera on. Kripamaya Prabhu, turn your camera on. Why you are shy?
Okay, let me see how can I turn my camera. I was on Sandfold. Just give me 1 second.
This is our Kripamaya Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Kripamaya Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Danvas Pranam.
Danat Pranam Prabhu.
I've spoken to you a lot of time, but never had face to face.
Oh, really? I thought that you have face to face. Okay.
No. I spoke to Prabhu, email, exchange a lot of, but
okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Never used
nice to see you, Prabhu.
Same here, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Very, very enlightening class, Prabhu. And especially, I like the analogies you give. Especially the ghee one. That was really nice and very pertinent and very bring the point home. Like even if you even if you don't chant properly, but at least chant. It will bring slowly as ghee nourishes. Even one mantra or one name will nourish to him. So it was very inspiring. I'll to try that.
Yeah.
I also like the example of the elephant enjoying, in the water.
I mean, all was good. Elephant one, and the other one Prabhu gave about the wife one, Vidya Buddhu. That was very nice.
Yeah.
So, thank you so much.
The ghee one was really good. Even if there is some residual left inside, it's going to bring the benefit. In fact, you are not taking to consume all, but even the residual will bring the, No, that was very pertinent example.
Yeah.
Right. They're good examples, Prabhuji, really.
Mm-hmm. This is there actually. The wealth of all this inspiration is there in our books of Srila Prabhupada.
Right. Yeah.
Really.
Thank you.
Very nicely synchronized, Prabhu. I really appreciate it.
Hare Krishna. So anybody has anything that they would like to share?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you for the wonderful lecture, Prabhu. Prabhu, I have a question related to attentive chanting.
Uh,
So you mentioned about hearing. Prabhupada also mentions about chanting with your mouth and hearing with your ears, and that should mind should not come into play. But even if I try on a sincerely with the mood of serving the Lord and want to chant for His pleasure only, it happens for a few minutes and then drifts away and then bring back. It's constantly happening. I wonder, is there different grades of hearing, that one has to go through before we attain that, hearing level of, is there, what is the, the best hearing? What is, every mantra has to be heard. What is the correct process of hearing? Do you have any more suggestions on that, Prabhu?
yes, Prabhu, our Vaishnava acharyas have given the different stages of the chanting of the holy name. Especially Bhaktivinoda Thakur actually explains in terms of offensive chanting, and then clearing stage and Shuddhana. So 3 stages mainly. So in the beginning of one's Krishna consciousness, one is chanting with offenses. So there are 10 offenses to the holy name of the Lord, which one devotee should try to avoid. As we discussed, one of the offenses to be inattentive while chanting, right? In fact, this one thing gives birth to all the other 10 offenses. So, a devotee, a sadhaka, is supposed to understand what are those 10 offenses and try to avoid those offenses while chanting the holy name of the Lord. Like one of the very first and foremost offenses is to blaspheme Vaishnavas. So, to criticize a devotee for anything, if a person is practicing Krishna consciousness, and naturally, in sadhaka stage, in the beginning stage, everybody has so many flaws. When we walk into society of Vaishnavas, we come up with our baggage of our so much conditioning, right? So everyone comes with some conditioning and some flaws. But when we try to point out those flaws and glorify that, oh, this person has these faults, that constitutes one of the severe offenses to the holy name. So that hinders our attentively chanting and hearing the holy name of the Lord. Krishna becomes very displeased. So when Krishna becomes displeased, then we don't have the blessings of Krishna to chant attentively the holy name of the Lord. So similarly, there are offenses. To be disobedient to Guru Avagya is one of the another offenses. So a person who keeps disobeying the Guru's order or Guru's instruction, his chanting also becomes very difficult. It becomes difficult for a person to chant the holy name of the Lord. So understand the 10 offenses and try to put an effort to avoid chanting the holy name. In the beginning stages, we commit all these 10 offenses. Somehow or other, at some point of time, we keep committing offenses. But clearing stage is when a person has trained himself to avoid these offenses. And that person reaches to the Madhyama stage. Madhyama stage means an intermediate devotee, advanced devotee, we call it. So the person is actually able to hear the holy name. That is called clearing stage. In the beginning, when we chant, we think, oh, I'm a pure devotee now because I'm chanting. But as years go by, when you spend 20, 30 years, then you realize, I'm not chanting anything. I'm not able to chant attentively at all. That is called clearing stage. That means you're able to even realize that although I've been chanting for 30 years, but I've not been able to hear the holy name of the Lord. That is called clearing stage. So when a person continues in this way, the clearing stage, gradually love for Krishna arises in the heart. And slowly and gradually, before a person actually reaches the prema bhakti, there are also different stages. But in terms of chanting, this clearing stage, slowly when a person continues, he reaches to the Shuddhana. When a person is actually able to chant out of love, without having any malice or any ill feelings for anyone in this world. The heart is filled with so much love. Even if somebody does anything to me, I feel, oh, this is Krishna's arrangement. This devotee is simply an instrument of Krishna. So that is the Shuddhanam stage. So all we need to do is just continue. In the offensive stage, the most important thing is to continue. Continue with trying to exercise as much caution and care as possible. Really.
Thank you,
I hope
Prabhu.
that.
Yeah,
I hope that.
yeah. Thank you.
Really.
Krishna, we still have a few minutes. So I see there is one comment in the chat box, Prabhuji, if you like to read. Just the appreciation of your lecture.
Okay, so this Hare Krishna. This is from Veena Mataji. Hare Krishna Prabhu, the new devotee. It was very inspiring, encouraging to hear. Hare Krishna Mataji. So at least the takeaway point from today's discussion, I'll say, is just continue. No matter what happens, there will be ups and downs in everyone's life. And sometimes people think that, oh, I have come to Krishna consciousness, all my obstacles should go away. But that's not true. If you see the life of Pandavas, who are so dear devotees of Krishna, they had so many obstacles. Prahlad Maharaj, just a 5-year-old child, he had so many obstacles. So the only glimpse of that we get to hear from Srimad Bhagavatam, but Prahlad Maharaj went through a hell at the hands of his father. So the devotee's life, there will be also ups and downs. But all we need to do is just continue to take shelter, tightly hold on to the holy name of the Lord. Just continue chanting Hare Krishna Mantra. Because we should know one thing. When we take to Krishna consciousness, when we start chanting Hare Krishna, it's like raging a war against Maya. We are in the realm of Maya. This is Maya's realm. And when we chant Hare Krishna, we are trying to escape from the realm of Maya, to go to the spiritual world, to go back home, back to God. So when you're trying to escape Maya's kingdom, Maya will try to retaliate and keep best of her weapons to make you surrender. So we should remember one thing. We can continue the war with Maya as long as we have a weapon. And our weapon is Japmala. When you have Japmala in your hand, you continue chanting Hare Krishna, the war is going on. As long as the war is going on, there is hope for victory. So don't surrender. Don't give up fighting with Maya. The moment you drop the weapon, you leave chanting the holy name of the Lord. You have surrendered to Maya. Then you will not be able to win. The victory is possible only for a person who continues the war. So let the war continue with the Maya.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. You know, one of the things that I kind of sometimes, just think that chanting appears to be very familiar to us because we have been chanting, and sometimes we end up getting this assumption that we got it, but this is a lifelong process. And as we advance in the bhakti, it's basically, keep on improving unless and until that stage come when this steel frame halt, right? Bhagavatam says that the halt is still framed, and unless and until it doesn't melt by hearing the holy name, we have the opportunity to improve. So very nicely you presented in a powerful topic tonight. We'll just see if there is any more question from anybody. Hare Krishna. So anybody has anything? Last question if you have. Prabhu, we have so many devotees right now taking your association. So that's really very nice. I see we have so many exalted personalities here on the call. That's very good. Is this Umesh Prabhu from North Carolina? Who is this Umesh? Okay, I see. So there is one question coming from Narayan Prabhu. If you like to read the chat, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu, I'm just reading. Okay, so Narayan Prabhu's question is, Hare Krishna Prabhu, my question is out of today's topic. Did Prabhupada take care of Vastu while building a temple or recommending to devotees for their homes? Well, Prabhupada never spoke about Vastu, but this is what I heard from Varshana Swami Maharaj in New Vrindavan. It's not that Prabhupada was not aware of the Vastu principle. Prabhupada's objective was mainly to establish the Hare Krishna movement, where people learn to the process of going back home, back to Godhead. Now, Prabhupada actually, when he came to New Vrindavan, this is Varshan Maharaj told me, when he came to New Vrindavan, he saw the whole landscape of New Vrindavan. He told the devotee, this is not a good place. This is what Varshan Maharaj told me. Prabhupada told that this is not a good place. We should leave and try to establish somewhere else. Otherwise, there are a lot of problems here. So devotees, they had already been living there for a year and they had made few structures and all. So they felt very much morose. Prabhupada, we have to leave this place and go to some other place again. So when Prabhupada saw that, they were feeling discouraged, Prabhupada said, okay, just don't worry, continue. Krishna will take care of everything. So it's not that Prabhupada was not aware. Prabhupada could see the landscape, Vastu, and he could understand that this place will have troubles. And yet, just to satisfy, not to discourage the devotees, he just told them to continue. But we should understand, Prabhupada's mission was mainly to establish this Hare Krishna movement. But towards the end of his life, Prabhupada said, this is my 50% mission. Another 50% of my mission is to establish Varnashram. So Varnashram has all these things in account. Vastu, Jyotisha, or all the other different sciences, Ayurveda. These are all part of, Varnashram system. So in Varnashram system, what is Varnashram? Varnashram is nothing but a framework, administrative framework of the society where everyone can efficiently practice Krishna consciousness. So Varnashram is nothing spiritual, but it's the administrative system of society where people become more efficient in their services to Krishna. So most important thing is to continue serving Krishna. If you can be most efficient, that's most desirable, right? We want to be efficient. When we have our business or when we have our job, we want to be efficient in our work. So similarly, we want to be efficient in our Krishna consciousness as well. So Krishna consciousness can be practiced in the framework of, what do you call Varnashram. So Vastu is relevant to the Varnashram system. I hope that answers your question, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. So,
Ramacharya Guru, thank you so much for giving me an opportunity.
no. I mean, Prabhu, you have been here, and most of us are very familiar, with you, to you. So we really enjoyed, and we loved the topic that you had selected. It's very appropriate for the time, and we really released the, instructions and association. So perfectly fine. And Prabhu is saying thank you, Prabhu. So he is satisfied with your answer.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So hope, we can have more associations soon. I'll try to see if there is something else where we can have, your association again. We'll stay in touch. I was thinking if Lalgwar Prabhu is here, but he's busy, but I'll just, pass the message to him that it was wonderful lecture. We'll just chant the Vaishnava pranams and then we'll adjourn tonight.
Sure, Prabhu.
Vanshkalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya evasya patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Assemble Bhakti Vrindi ki jai. His founder Acharya His Divine Grace Shri Bhaktivedanta Swami Sri Prabhupada ki jai. His Grace Shankaranand Prabhu ki jai. Assemble Bhakti Vrindi ki jai. Nitya Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari. Thank you, Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, thank you.
Hare
Hari Bol,
Krishna.
everybody. So we
Thank
have
you. Hare Krishna.
every evening, Bhagavatam recitation. So please come and be part of the program. Also, next week we have a very, very exalted, powerful personality, His Grace Dravida Prabhu. Dravida Prabhu is one of the devotee who helped compiling the 3 cantos of Bhagavatam, and he is known as one of the famous devotee for reciting the Bhagavatam verses. So and I have been waiting for a long time to invite him and have the association of Prabhuji, but we managed to make it possible next week on 24th. So whoever is on this call, I request all of you to come and take his association. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Dandot pranams to everybody. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare